to have Gauranga in a span of just a couple of months. So we are indeed very fortunate to have him again after 2 months. So he's a personality where everywhere you'll find him in the social media. Many people know him just when we talk about him. He's a very well-known personality. He doesn't need any introduction now. So just for those who do not know, I just like to briefly in a couple of lines would like to introduce him. So Gauranga, he is a monk practicing the Krishna Bhakti for many years from Radha Gopinath Mandir in ISKCON Mumbai, Chowpatty. He's a leadership consultant, he's a corporate coach, he's inspirational speaker, he's environment leader, he's a social reformer, he's a spiritual leader, he's a teacher, he's academician, he teaches even in IIMs, and also he himself studied in IIT Bombay. So he's an engineer. Then later on, he dedicated his entire life for this Krishna Bhakti. And he has been a director of the very world-renowned eco-farming community, or eco-village, the Gauranga Eco-Village, which earned with so many accolades, so many prizes, so many awards internationally. So let's welcome wholeheartedly our dearmost His Grace Gauranga at ISKCON Boston by loudly chanting Hari Bol. Give a round of applause and Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So before I actually begin, I would like to request all of you, please keep your cell phones on the aeroplane mode, and also please if you can come forward, because as night falls and you can see that as the evening progresses, so many devotees will come, and we do not want to actually ask you repeatedly that to move forward, because we might get more and more devotees. Even though it's working, I know that working day it is difficult for devotees to come, but I'm pretty much sure that many devotees would like to come attend and hear from His Grace Gauranga. Thank you once again for your cooperation. Hare Krishna.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज यमुना तीरा Srila Bhai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki
Jai.
ISKCON Vivid Sansthavakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Shtodraksa Srimadis Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की
Jai.
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की
Jai.
ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की
Jai.
पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की
Jai.
नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की
Jai.
गंगा माई की
Jai.
जमुना माई की
Jai.
भक्ति देवी की
Jai.
कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की
Jai.
कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की
Jai.
हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की
Jai.
श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की
Jai.
ताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled
Hare
devotees
Krishna.
all glories to assembled
Hare
devotees
Krishna.
all glories to assembled
Hare
devotees
Krishna.
all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshi Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees and guests assembled this evening. I'll speak from the Bhagavad Gita, which is the 17th chapter. Krishna is speaking about overcoming three forces from within. Tribidham narakasyedam dvaram nashanam kamam krodham tatha lobham tasmat etatrayam tyajet. So Krishna says to Arjuna, you have to overcome these three enemies. These three enemies which will lead you to hell. They are the gates to hell, Krishna says. And he calls it Kamam, Krodham and Lobham, which is lust, anger and greed. So in the 3rd chapter of Gita, when Arjuna is hearing the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, at that time Arjuna asks Krishna, Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anicchanapi varshnaya baladivanyojita. There are many occasions where we do not want to do certain thing. We know, I must do this, I must not do this. But still, looks like there is a force from within which is pushing us to do it. Anichannapi. We don't want to do, but still that force pulls us. Balad iva niyojita, as if it's a force from within. What is that force which propels us to do something? So Krishna in response says to Arjuna, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava maha ashno maha papma vidhenam ihavairinam. My dear Arjuna, the name of this force is lust. Kama esha. It is the lust which forces one to engage in these kind of activities. And that force is so strong that it completely maddens a person. And so the best example is in the Shastra of Ravana himself. Ravana is the personification of lust. And in spite of having so much to enjoy, still Ravana was obsessed with enjoying with Sita. So what happened was Sita and Ram were in the forest. After Chitrakoot, they were on the way to Janasthan, Panchavati. From Panchavati, they were going to go further south. And suddenly Sita saw Lord Ram's bow and arrow. And Sita made a comment to Ram. My dear Lord, I am seeing that you are carrying this bow for so many years, never used it. Will you use it also sometime or what? So Ram thought, certain comments need not be responded immediately. We should allow for the right time. So Ram kept quiet, but he noted that comment. They came ahead, and when they came to Tapovan, where they were staying, Surpanaka, who was a sister of Ravana, looked at Ram and felt conquered by lust and wanted to enjoy with Lord Ram. Ram looked at Surpanaka and said, I am already married, and I am with my wife here. If you come to me, then, it is not going to be good because she is already there. But my younger brother Lakshman, he is here without any wife, so he is eligible. Why don't you go to him? So Surpanaka goes to Lakshman, and Lakshman says, well, my elder brother is the prince, I am his servant, I am Das. So if you get married to me, you will become Dasi. So do you want to be Rani or Dasi? So Surpanaka again goes to Ram. And then Ram again sends her to Lakshman. So she realizes that these two are playing games with me. So when she tries to attack Sita, Ram indicates to Lakshman that it is time for you to perform the surgery. And Lakshman takes his sword and cuts Surpanaka's nose. That cut nose of Surpanaka is thrown across the Godavari, and where that nose or Nasika fells, that city is known as Nasik. So that's how the city of Nasik gets its name. So now Surpanaka runs with her nose bleeding, and she approaches the two brothers who's in Janasthan, and Khar and Dushan, who are the brothers of Ravana and Surpanaka. They are offended that our sister has been attacked. So they come with a whole army of 14,000 soldiers. And as from a distance, Ram and Lakshman saw these 14,000 soldiers, Lakshman turns to Lord Ram and says, my dear Lord, you please go inside the cave along with Sita Devi. I will kill all of them. Lord Ram looks at Lakshman and says, no, Lakshman, I will take care of them. I will fight against them. Because Ram is remembering Sita's comment on the bow and arrow. Are you going to just carry or are you going to use also? So Ram says, Lakshman, you go in, I will fight. Lakshman says, my dear Lord, these demons, they are not as per your standard. I will take care of them. It's my pleasure, I'll take care. Ram said, no, no. You go inside. You take care of Sita in the cave, I'll fight against them, I'll kill them. Lakshman says, my dear Lord, why are you insisting? Allow me to perform this service, it's very simple for me. You relax along with Sita Devi inside the cave. Ram says, Lakshman, it is my family matter. You will not understand. You just follow what I say. And Lakshman is bewildered, intrigued, so he goes inside. And then, when Khar and Dushan along with 14,000 soldiers attack, at that point, there is like a huge attack by the 14,000 soldiers. Ram for 1 hour is fighting. And for that 1 hour, as he's fighting and shooting arrows at these 14,000 soldiers, not a single bead of perspiration comes on his forehead. And ultimately, all the 14,000 soldiers are destroyed. And Ram becomes victorious. Sita Devi comes out of the cave, clapping her hand and carrying a garland in her hand. And with great joy, she puts the garland on Ram's forehead, on her neck, on his neck. And then she says, I'm so glad that my father Janak Maharaj was not here to see you show this kind of valor today. If he saw you do this, he would be so influenced, so impressed that he would even marry my 2 other sisters with you. So then, that is the time when Surpanaka goes running all the way to Lanka, because she has to lodge a complaint. She has to take a revenge. And when Ravana sees Surpanaka in that situation, he is bewildered. And he tells her, what happened? Who dare cut off your nose? And then Surpanaka takes the opportunity to agitate Ravana. Surpanaka explains how she wanted to connect with Ram and how Ram and Lakshman insulted her and punished her, and not just punished her, but they have killed Khar and Dushan also, along with 14,000 soldiers. So Sita Devi looks at Ravana and says, my dear brother, in the presence of such a powerful personality as you, how could an ordinary human being be so offensive towards us? And then Surpanaka goes into great detail explaining about the beauty of Sita. And that is the time when Ravana, sitting far away in Lanka, his mind gets agitated and his mind becomes filled with the desire to possess Sita. So Surpanaka is the original internet. She is the one who puts the seed of this thought in Ravana's mind. And then Ravana becomes obsessed. But Ravana also knows to kidnap Sita is not so easy. So he works out a whole plan and goes to meet Marich, who's also a very accomplished demon. Ravana has a good team. So when he approaches Marich, Marich looks at him and says, why have you come, my dear Ravana, all the way here? I could have come to you. Why did you come to me? Ravana said, the matter is so sensitive, so urgent. I wanted you to take this very seriously, that's why I've come to you. He says, what's the matter? And he says, you need to take the form of a golden deer and attract Sita so that Ram leaves Sita and then I can go and kidnap her. When Marich hears this, Marich remembers his younger days, when they had tried to attack the various rishis and sages who were performing yajna in Vishwamitra Muni's ashram. At that time, Vishwamitra Muni had brought Ram and Lakshman. And that time, Ram and Lakshman were hardly 12 years old. They were not even fully trained Kshatriya warriors. In spite of not knowing how to fight like accomplished warriors, still in moments they had destroyed millions of Rakshasas. And specifically, Lord Ram had shot an arrow which had thrown Maricha 800 miles into the ocean. The pain of that arrow was still felt by Maricha. And in fact, the trauma of being attacked by Ram was so much that Marich later renounced all these attacks on rishis and was sitting in the middle of the forest. And he said to Ravana, Ravana, I am so traumatized by that experience of being attacked and punished by Ram that even till date, in the middle of the forest where there is no sign of Ram in any of the four directions, anyone takes a word which begins with the syllable Ra, I think Ram has come. So I'm in trauma and I can't forget it. You know, therefore, I have a suggestion for you. Prasida Lankeshwara Rakshasendra Lankam Prayacha Bhavasadu Gacha Tvamasveshu Dvareshu Ramasvanityam Ramasa Bharyam Ramatam Vaneshu. My dear Ram, my dear Ravan, be afraid of Ram the way I am afraid. Prasida, be happy. Lankam Prayacha, go back to Lanka. Bhavasadu Gacha. Maintain all your limbs intact. Tvam sveshu dareshu ramasva nityam. Enjoy with your wives. You have been given an opportunity to have a long life. Enjoy long life. And let Ram enjoy with his wife. You enjoy with your wives. Don't lust behind Sita. So this was the direct instruction given by Marich. And when Ravana hears this, he looks at Marich and says, I didn't come here to get instructions from you. I came here to give you instructions. Either you follow me, otherwise I'll kill you. So Marich thought, I have only two options. To be killed by Ravan or to be killed by Ram. So he said, better to be killed by Ram and be elevated than to be killed by Ravan and go to hell. So therefore, that's how Marich takes the form of the golden deer and comes right in front of Sita. Until then, Sita is very much absorbed in serving Ram. And in her entire episode of relationship with Ram, nothing could distract Sita from her service to Ram. But when the golden deer came, that is the first time Sita gets distracted. She starts aspiring and desiring to possess that golden deer. So distraction is the beginning of deviation. And then deviation is the beginning of destruction. So therefore, from distraction will come deviation, and from deviation will come destruction. And therefore, we have to be very conscious not to be distracted in any circumstance, in any situation. And that's what, the Krishna consciousness movement is all about. To prevent us from being distracted by things of this world. Right? I remember we were in Mayapur Yatra many years ago, and as part of the yatra we were cooking, and the devotees started telling us, third day, fourth day, that every day you are making simple menu, simple breakfast, upma, poha, upma, poha, upma, upma, poha, same thing every day. We are all come from Mumbai, you should make pav bhaji. I said, Baba, how will make pav bhaji for 4,000 people? And they said, well, Prabhu, you are capable to do anything. आपने सोच लिया क्या नहीं हो सकता. So I got trapped. I said, oh, okay, I'll do it. And so our team members, they said, Arey Baba, so many people will keep saying so many things, you can't take the feedback so seriously. But some of us, we got distracted. And we said, okay, we'll do it. So we gave order for pav in Calcutta, Govinda's. And on the morning of the, when we were going to cook the bhaji, I entered the kitchen. And then I called this guy who was coming in the vehicle with the pav. And then he picked up the phone. And I asked him, where have you reached? So what he didn't tell me was that night was Kali Puja and the truck had got stuck in a traffic jam. And when I said, where are you? How long you are going to take? And he gave the standard answer, just now coming. I said, should I start cooking? He said, Hare Prabhu, go ahead. You'll reach on time. Hare Krishna is there. It's very difficult to get exact answer in India. Everybody is so positive. Be positive. So I entered the kitchen, started cooking. Prasad was ready. It was on the counter at 7 o'clock. Truck is nowhere to be found. Then I started calling him desperately because all devotees were on time for Prasad. For lecture, there may be little delay. Prasadam always before time. So 2,000-3,000 people started lining up. It's a very scary scene. So I called him again. And there is another SOP in India, when things don't go well, switch off mobile. So I don't know where he is. People are coming inside kitchen asking, so what is the menu for today? I said, bread and jam. Oh really? I said, yes, traffic jam. And then people are complaining, अरे 2 पाव में खड़े 1 पाव नहीं मिल रहा है. What is going on? We are standing on 2 legs, we are not getting 1 pav. And then, the line reached up till the gate. And the vehicle came. This devotee was standing, sitting with the driver. He looked at that long line and asked the last guy, what is this line about? And they said, we heard there is a truck coming with pav from Kolkata. We are waiting for that. This devotee got bewildered and scared. He thought, if I go in, I'll be beaten up. So he told the driver, I am going for Ganga Snan. And he ran away from there. And after that, next 3 days, people were just chastising. Hey, you guys don't do proper planning. You do this, you do that. And our own team members started criticizing. So many times, we are distracted from our plan just because someone says something which sounds attractive. Just imagine we are living in such a world where every moment, right from morning, the WhatsApp starts, giving the ghanti. Previously, only temples would give ghanti or bell. Now you hear the bell every few seconds, ting, 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 ting. And then if you start responding and absorbing each and every one of those suggestions, you really will not know what you're supposed to do. And that's why millions of people in today's age are confused about their duty because of distraction. And therefore, lust basically means that force which causes us to be distracted. That force which causes us to be distracted. And I think this is very important for us to realize that the process of Krishna consciousness is supposed to help us remain absorbed in the practice of the process. To be absorbed in what you can do. Pashyadaitan mahabhagan parasyaikanta jivitan vatavarsha atapahiman sahanto varayantina. Krishna is looking at the trees of Vrindavan and glorifying the trees. Just look at the trees, my dear Arjuna. The trees of Vrindavan are so powerful that they are constantly serving others. Vatavarsha atapahiman sahanto. The trees go through rains, winds, storm, hail, but they tolerate it and protect others. We pass by trees every single moment. We never notice their glorious contribution. We never recognize it. The tree's contribution is not advertised. The trees are not branded. They are just quietly performing their service. But who takes notice? Krishna. And so Krishna says, Patra pushpa phala chhaya mola valkala darubhi. The trees give leaves, patra. They give flowers, pushpa. They give fruits, phala. They give shade, chhaya. Mola, they give roots. They give bark, valkala. Darubhi, they give their log, because of which you can make your furniture and doors and so many things. The trees are contributing. We are living life and being protected from the elements thanks to the contribution from the trees. But we are so self-obsessed, we hardly ever recognize, acknowledge, and express gratitude towards the trees. But Krishna says, if anybody asks me my opinion in a podcast, if you take a podcast with Krishna and say, hey Krishna, what's your idea of success? What's your narrative of success? What do you think is success? Krishna says, Etavat janma saphalyam dehinamiha dehishu praner arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. What is success? He says, if one lives his life or her life for the sake of selflessly serving others, service without selfish consideration. That, in my opinion, is a life of success. Pranair, arthair, dhiya, vacha. With one's life, wealth, intelligence, and words. If you are able to serve others and transform others, then that is success. Prabhupada went to the West and came back, and in Juhu he was sitting with life members. One big businessman called Brijratan Mohta entered and offered obeisances. And Prabhupada said to others, meet Mr. Brijratan Mohta, a very, very big businessman. Mr. Mohta said, but Srila Prabhupada, you went to America with 40 rupees in your pocket. Now you have properties all over the world of ISKCON worth 40 crore rupees. You are the real businessman. Prabhupada said, why don't you join my business then? Mr. Mohta said, not now. It's too early for me. So Prabhupada said, okay, then you support with whatever skill you can. So therefore, how do you overcome the influence of this lust? Kama Krishna Arpane. You offer your desires in the service of Krishna. Use your skills in the service of Krishna. Pranay, life, arthair, wealth, dhiya, intelligence, vacha, words. Whatever you can. Krishna is not looking at what you cannot do. He is looking at what you can do, what you can offer. So that's very important. Srila Prabhupada, he engaged devotees as per their propensity. So one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Guru Kripa Swami, he tells the story that, he was a very aggressive person. He comes to India, he goes to Kalbadevi market to make somebody life member. He shows him Bhagavad Gita and says, this is Gita written by Srila Prabhupada, and we are International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are worshipping Krishna. Arjuna was spoken the Gita. You become member. This guy was a shopkeeper. Afternoon time in India, shops are closed, so they thought, oh, nice young Western guy is here. Let's have some fun. And they say, hey, what you're talking about Arjuna? Arjuna is not the hero of Mahabharata. Hero of Mahabharata is Karna. So now, in 1971-72, the total exposure to philosophy was very limited. Books were not published. So Guru Kripa Swami never heard of Karna. He said, what is he talking about? He said, no, Arjuna is the hero. This Indian shopkeeper said, hey, come on, you don't know, it is Karna. You have not read Mahabharata, you guys just know a little bit and then Hare Krishna you do. You don't know about Karna, Karna is the real hero. Guru Kripa Swami, but I have heard from Prabhupada, Arjuna is the hero. There is no Karna. No, Arjuna, Karna. So then Guru Kripa Swami brought his fist close to this person's nose and says, it is Arjuna. Do you accept or not? He threatened him like this. And it appeared that in the next moment he is going to hit a full fist on his face. This guy backed off and he said, hey, what is this? You are supposed to be chanting Hare Krishna. You are behaving so violent. This is what your Guru has taught you, and this is what the effect of the Hare Krishna on you is. Our faith in the Hare Krishna is going down by seeing your behavior. Guru Kripa Swami said, 3 years back, if you had argued with me like this, the punch would have already have gone and you would be bleeding. That my fist is still 5 inches away from your face means it is the effect of the Hare Krishna mantra. You understand? He immediately took out a check and wrote and became member. So then, he goes and Guru Kripa Swami, he goes and does a lot of collection in Southeast Asia and various places in his own whatever way. And then at some point, he comes to Vrindavan. And then he starts kind of thinking, this temple of Vrindavan will not get built unless we do the collection. So Prabhupada could see that. So Prabhupada, understands it is his responsibility to also keep him humble. Because if you start doing something and then you start thinking, I am responsible for this. I am the person behind this. If I am not there, what will happen? That's also a big problem. So Prabhupada sends his secretary in the middle of the night. 1 o'clock in the morning. Secretary wakes up Guru Kripa Swami and says, Prabhupada is calling you. He wakes up with a start, he looks at the time, 1 o'clock, Prabhupada is calling me, 1 o'clock, what happened? He goes and offers obeisance to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada looks at Guru Kripa Swami and says, Guru Kripa, what were you doing? He says, Srila Prabhupada, I was sleeping. Prabhupada said, why were you sleeping? He says, Prabhupada, it's night, therefore I'm sleeping. Prabhupada said, it is night for me also. I am not sleeping. Why are you sleeping? He says, Prabhupada, you are a pure devotee. Prabhupada said, why are you not a pure devotee? Prabhupada, I was working hard all day. I was tired. Prabhupada said, I was also working hard all day. I am not sleeping. Why are you sleeping? So he realizes, I don't know what to do. He says, Prabhupada, what should I do? Prabhupada said, go back to sleep. On the way back, he's thinking, maybe there is something wrong in the way I'm doing things. I can't figure out what's going on here. Without directly telling, Prabhupada made him introspect and made him understand that bhakti is not actions being offered to Krishna, but bhakti is our attitude being offered to Krishna, our aspirations being offered to Krishna. And therefore, the aspiration is the most important. Yadarchitam brahma bhavadibhi suraihi shriyaja devya munecha satvataihi gocharayana anucharaischarat vane yad gopikanam kucha kumkumankitam. Krishna is in Vrindavan, is worshipped by 33 crore demigods, but Krishna is servant of the calves. That lotus feet is being worshipped by goddess of fortune. But Krishna considers that it is my greatest fortune to serve the calves of Vrindavan, the weakest of all, those who cannot even express themselves. Krishna becomes their servant. And therefore, that should be the aspiration for a practicing devotee, to become the Das. Right? And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this mission, that we become Dasanudas. And when Prataprudra Maharaj is with Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe ke tumi korila morahe achambite asi piyao Krishna lila amrit. Who are you who are giving me such nectar of Krishna lila? Raja kahe ami tomar daseranu das bhrityera bhritya kura tei mora ash. One can overcome these selfish desires inspired by lust only by becoming the servant of the Lord's devotees and engage in service the way they engage us. Right? And therefore, you need not be in anxiety that I cannot do this, I don't have these skills. Krishna is not impressed with your skill. He is impressed with your will. And therefore the process of Krishna consciousness is refining our will, not improving our skill. We had a devotee in our temple who did not know how to sing. For 4 years he was doing program and he was singing the same tune, Hare Krishna Dhun of Prabhupada. Very nice, simple tune. And he was happy. But the public agitated him. The devotees, they said after 4 years, Prabhu, last 4 years you are singing same tune. Why can't you sing new tune? One new tune? Is there a problem? Why the same tune we have to hear every time? He said, Arey Baba, I don't know singing, what can I do? Arey, you can do anything, you can try. So he comes to the temple, asks one of our devotees who knows singing, teach me how to sing another tune. So he teaches him new tune. This devotee thinks, I have learned the tune. When you don't know singing, that's what you think. And then he goes to the program. The tune is in his mind, but when the mic switch on, the same old tune comes. And everybody says, hey, you said you are going to sing a new tune. What happened? I trained in new tune. But when I come here, same thing comes. What can I do? It is not in my karma. Arey, no, Baba, try again. So he goes back again, tells his trainer, Arey, you taught me, but it didn't work. So there is only one way to work. The program is at 7:30, I'll start teaching you at 6 o'clock in the evening. From that time onwards, you continue singing and don't stop. Till you go to the program and continue singing and straight into the mic. Says, okay, that's a good idea. So he learned the tune and kept singing all the way in the train. He was singing and singing. Public was thinking, oh, blissful guy. He's singing even in the crowds. He goes to the program, and at the program, before coming on the Vyasasana, he sees the altar and offers obeisances and pauses and says, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. He gets up, forgets the tune again. Then he says, I think I understand my limitation. What I can do, what I cannot do. Stick to that. I was giving a program, Janmashtami program in a village in interior Maharashtra. And I thought, oh, it's a Janmashtami program and I'm speaking about Krishna's taking cowherd boys and cows out for grazing. So I thought, let me, make some sounds of the cows like the way Radhanath Swami does in his lectures, making sound of cow. So everybody likes that, so I'll also make that sound. So I started making some sound. After the lecture, one of the audience person came and said, what animal sound was that? I said, Arey Baba, it was cow, but first time go Charan Lila, it has to be cow only, He says, it didn't sound like cow at all. I said, it was Mumbai ka cow. After that, I never tried. So the modern education system is obsessed with refining your skill. But the process of Krishna consciousness is all about refining your will. Amanistarite tomar iha agaman Porama dayalu tumi patita pavan. And therefore through association our fallen desires are transformed and we get completely energized in our practice. Krishna nama vishtamana kore haridas. Krishna nama avishta. When one's mind is completely absorbed in chanting of the holy names, then our consciousness is elevated. Nirvikara Haridasa Gambhira Ashray Bolite Lagila Tare Hoya Sadai. Thakur Haridas, his asha, his will is fixed. I will be a servant, and therefore no sense objects can bewilder him. No external force can bewilder him. And therefore it is said, Krishna says to Arjuna, Kamat krodho vijayate. So when lust is unfulfilled, one becomes angry. Anger. Anger is one letter short of danger. You add D to anger, it becomes danger. Krodh, anger. And therefore Krodh is also called younger brother of anger. Another name of Krodh is Kamanuja. Kamanuja means younger brother of anger. It was 2006. I had come to Boston, and it was before your time. Somebody organized a lecture in MIT for me, and I was very excited. IIT ka bada bhai. Lecture in MIT, okay, nice. So I was ready to give the talk, and I had a presentation, so there was a LCD projector, and somebody was working on it, and he tried his level best to make it work. It didn't work. He came up to me and whispered in my ear, I'm sorry, the LCD projector is not working. You please depend on Krishna and give your lecture. I said, thanks for telling my philosophy to me only. And I couldn't say anything because the topic of my lecture advertised was overcoming anger. And the first slide was, things will not always work as per your plan. I had to experience it directly. So therefore, when do we get angry? When our desires are not fulfilled. Unfulfilled desire leads to anger. I was, in a program at Yeravada jail in Pune. It's a very famous jail in India, where long-term convicts are sent, life imprisonment or even for hanging. 500 prisoners were sitting in front of me. Assistant Commissioner of Police was my friend, so we organized this lecture. 500 people, all convicts, hardened criminals were sitting right in front. But I like jail program. Why? Audience is guaranteed. And as I began my lecture, I said, any questions? One prisoner raised his hand and said, I have a question. I said, ask. He said, I will come on the stage and ask. I looked at the commissioner and said, hey, who is he? Commissioner said, he has committed 12 murders. I said, will I be 13th? Why does he want to come on stage? I said, let him come, don't worry. He came on the stage and asked his question, and then all the audience, everybody clapped. Are, our criminal is also Pandit. And then after his question, I gave answer, then I called him and I said, at such a young age, you committed so many crimes. You are not considering what will be the reaction? Sir, what reaction? When the anger affects you, you become blinded. blinded by anger. I can't see anything, no discrimination. And because of the lack of discrimination, I don't know what is good, what is bad. Mlecha jati mlecha sevi kori mlecha karma go brahmana drohi sangyamar sangam. Rupa and Sanatan tell Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our hearts are filled with such obsessed desires that we have been committing activities which have been violent towards others, assisting Nawab Hussain Shah in committing violence towards others. Mora karma mora hathe galaye bandhiya ko vishaya vishtagarthe liyache phelaya. And all our activities of violence towards others, hinsa towards others, it's just like tying a rope around our own neck. And therefore, anger is deadly. Narottam Das Thakur says, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jani. Krodh has to be used, but it has to be used. Number one has to be angry with oneself. And one has to use anger for self-improvement. And number two, one has to use anger to fight against injustice. So when Arjuna tells Krishna, I will become beggar, Krishna says, hey Arjuna, you are a fighter. Fighter cannot become beggar. No, I will become beggar. I will be bona fide beggar. I will be good beggar. I will get training in begging. Krishna says, Arey Baba, you are a fighter. You cannot beg. No, I will take kamandalu in my hand. I will take a begging bowl in my hand. I will go village to village, ask for alms. I will retire from fighting. Krishna says, Arey, you are a fighter, core fighter to the core. You cannot handle injustice, you cannot handle insult. If tomorrow you go begging Arjun and somebody insults you, you will take the same begging pot and hit on his head and kill him on the spot. Because you are Kshatriya, you are a fighter. What is the symptom? You cannot tolerate injustice, insult, and the boiling point is very low, which is an ornament for a Kshatriya. Then only he will rise up and protect. I had a devotee friend of mine, very aggressive. Anything injustice happening in the society, he'll get ghost and start fighting. Any kind of attacks on his ISKCON or something, he'll start, putting court case and police case and this and that. Hardcore Kshatriya. If you give him Chappan Bhog, feast, and police case, he will take police case. Loves fighting. So at one point of time, all the devotees around were bewildered by his aggression. They told me, Baba, samjhao isko, thanda karo, make him cool. I told this devotee, there is a group of children who are going to Badrinath from the Vrindavan school. You go along with them. Badrinath means you'll become cool. And take Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. 10 days, no fighting, no police case, nothing. Just study, become cool. He said, okay. So he sat in the train. The children were also in that same bogie. He picked up the Bhagavatam, started reading. Suddenly one of the Gurukul boy came running. Uncle, Prabhuji. Some 3-4 people are forcibly wanting to sit on a seat in our seat, and they're fighting with us. He closed the Bhagavatam. He came and looked at who these guys were and started telling them, Hare, they got reserved ticket, why you are trying? Hare! They started fighting with him. So what? 3-4 stations, they should also adjust, they should tolerate. What is the problem? Allah, tell them to give us some seat, no problem. He said, hey, they have got permanent seat here with the reservation, how they will? And this another guy, 3-4 of them were there, so they took this guy for granted, held his collar. As soon as the guy caught his collar, this guy started bashing him, dragged all of them and took them to the police station. The railway police lodged complaint. Train was going, pulled the chain, made sure they were, put behind bars, then entered the train again. Called me first. Says, Prabhu, I tried to follow what you said, but service came searching for me. What could I do? I opened the Bhagavatam, but I was forced to close it. So therefore, anger can be utilized, but it has to be done in a bona fide manner. In fact, Arjuna wanted to be forgiving, and the whole Gita was spoken by Krishna to incite Arjuna to fight. Otherwise, Arjuna was giving first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, lecture after lecture on non-violence. Krishna says, no, use that. So anger by itself is not sinful, but the anger, we should not be controlled by anger, but we can use anger in transforming people's lives and protecting people. That is the krodha. So unfulfilled desire leads to krodha, unfulfilled kama leads to krodha, and fulfilled kama leads to lobha, greed, and the desire to have more and more and more. But how do you sublimate it? Have greed for more hearing, more chanting, more service, more darshan, and it is known as laulyam kevalam mulyam. So Narottam Das Thakur says, Gauranga karuna koro dinahin jane mosama patita prabhu nahi tribhuvane. My dear Lord, there is no one more fallen than me in all the 3 worlds. Dante trina dhori gaura dakiye tomar kripa kori esho amar nahi tribhuvane. With straw between my teeth, I am falling at your lotus feet, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, and praying to you. Kripa kori esho amar. Please come and deliver me, because there is no one in all the 3 worlds who can deliver me. And what is my situation? I am in the ocean of material existence. What is the ocean comprised of? Drops of unlimited selfish desires make up this ocean. Podechi bhavatu phane nahi ko nistar Sri charane torne dane dase koro par. And there is only one way we can overcome this ocean. By focusing on service to your lotus feet. All these multi-directional desires, when they become unidirectional, only service to your lotus feet, then this ocean gets evaporated. And therefore, my dear Lord, only you can save us. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasirano Das Prarthana Koroe Sada Narottama Das. So Thakur Narottam Das says, we can only do that by becoming servant of the devotees. And let my lobha, laulyam, greed be towards serving such devotees. So therefore, what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the three gates to hell, kamam, krodham and lobham, lust, anger and greed, can become gateway to the spiritual world if we purify the desire to become, if we develop the desire to serve Krishna selflessly, if we utilize the anger to transform ourselves, purify ourselves, and to protect other devotees and others, and we utilize the greed to have unlimited greed for Krishna and things related to Krishna, then the entire trajectory of our life will be transformed, and the journey to the spiritual world will accelerate. Durlabho manavo deho dehinam kshanabhangura tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priyadarshanam. Human life is rare. Long life in human form is rare. Healthy life in human form is even rare. But the rarest is to get association of devotees whose aspiration is to go to the spiritual world. All of you are fortunate that you have ISKCON of Boston here to give you that wonderful platform of association of devotees and the shelter of Sri Radha Gopi Vallabhji, and by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. Boston is a historic place because that's where Srila Prabhupada first landed, when nobody even knew what's going to happen. And everything began from Boston, and then New York became the first center of ISKCON in 1966. So we're grateful to all of you for taking to this process seriously. Utilize the opportunities which are available here. Give Krishna a chance to enter your life and see how your life will be revolutionized. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone has any questions? This is one wonderful opportunity. So we have Giridharan who can pass on the mic. Okay.
Yeah, Swapnil has a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for this really wonderful and inspiring lecture. I have a question about, you made this point that Haridas Thakur's will was fixed, that I'll be a servant, and because he was fixed in that understanding, nothing could distract him, no temptations could distract him. Could you please give us some tips on how can we gradually try to cultivate such a fixed up attitude?
you have to serve someone who is fixed up. So therefore, when you serve somebody who is fixed up, then Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Sushrusho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishavan. Mahat Sevaya, by serving such souls, the fragrance of devotion from their heart percolates to you. So there are no shortcuts. Tat Shraddadhana Muneyo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmanichatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. So Jiva Goswami says, to go back home, back to God, you need two qualities. You have to be thoughtful and you have to be faithful. And this can only be done in that association. So therefore, the strong association of devotees is the single most powerful factor. Ghore Krishna bhaji more kora ashirvade nila chale asi jena Amar Prashandi. Mahaprabhu says to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, give me blessing so that I can come back. Prabhupada says, oh, sannyasi is asking blessings of Grihastha. Yes, because Lord Chaitanya has given equal opportunity for all. So therefore that association is the most crucial. And people also understand by association something happens. Changes come. I was giving prasadam to one college student. He was refusing. He says, no. I said, why? What's the problem? He said, I'm afraid if I take this prasadam, my hairstyle will become like yours. So by association with those who have strong faith, you will also develop strong faith. Okay? Any other question? Yeah.
You said that bhakti is about offering our aspirations, not actions. So does that mean actions are not important? Because sometimes it may happen that our mind tricks us and we take shelter of this statement to justify like our inactivity. So could you say something on this?
Well, the aspiration has to be, I aspire to follow the will of the Vaishnavas. Murkhani chakshudramoi vishaya lalas Vaishnav agya bole kore eteka sahas. So if your aspiration is to follow the Vaishnava agya, and if you get the agya that you only sit and chant, or if you get the agya, go to sleep, so it's bona fide. But if the agya is come to the kitchen and cut vegetable for 6 hours, then what excuse you have? So therefore, if your aspiration is to follow Vaishnava agya, then you depend on the agya. So the problem is, we take to the process of Krishna consciousness, we externally sign up for being bhakti yogi, but our internal thought process is still that of a jnani. We are not yet ready to give the direction of our life and control of our life in someone's hands. And bhakti only begins when you do that. That's why Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is simple but not easy. Because to let go is not easy. And therefore, watching a game sitting in the stands, watching the game on television is different from playing the game. Looking at the bottle from outside, smelling the bottle from outside, but licking the honey from inside is different. So therefore, only when you start following sincerely, nirvyalikam, without duplicity, letting go of your own plans and desires, and having the guts to follow, and allowing someone to lead you, then gradually over a period of time, the fragrance of bhakti starts manifesting. Otherwise, just because you watch cricket or football or baseball for 6 hours a day for many, many years, you know everything about all the players. So you may fool yourself thinking that I am also a player. But playing on the field is different than watching. So therefore, if you are simply reading about Parikshit, reading about Prahlad, reading about the Brajavasis, about their surrender, about their bhakti, but then when you are put to test on a daily basis and you are not able to follow a fraction of any of what they are doing, then you are just a spectator of the game of bhakti, not having the guts to enter into the arena to play. So the question is, are you here to watch the game or play the game? Choice is yours. And the problem is there is no referee. The referee is inside, who will only declare the score at the moment of death. That's the problem. There is no forewarning. And that may be too late. Okay? Okay. So thank you all very much for coming this evening, and over to leave some time for meeting people and clicking photos and all that, you know. Nowadays people like that more than the lecture. Yeah, that's true.
Social media. Okay. So let's express our gratitude to His Grace Gauranga Prabhu for coming to Boston once again in a very short period and giving us his very valuable association, and the amount of wisdom which he shares is unparalleled. And this is he's here in person. When I started sharing it on the WhatsApp and other places, they were asking me, "Are you sure he's coming in person?" I said, "Yes, he's in person with his own body. He's coming here and giving a talk here. So please do come and take advantage of his presence here and hearing in person live at ISKCON Boston Temple." So let's give a big round of applause and thank you.